Hello to my fellow history lovers and people that think if I learn something new today, it will be a good day. So I want to talk a little bit today about this guy, British General Burgoyne, and what happens to him after the famous surrender at the Battle of Saratoga. So we talked a little bit yesterday about how officers of both sides actually got together and dined the day after the day of the surrender. Actually, get in a tent, you have wine, you talk. We fight by day, we drink by night. But so what happens to the actual leader? Remember, this guy is one of the top generals of the British. So what happens to him? Well, less than a year later, he's basically allowed to just sail back to England, giving his gentleman's word of honor he won't fight again. So kind of why did that happen and how? So he is a prisoner, but he's sort of paroled, as most high level officers are. As long as they have enough money, they can just go rent a place and live a fairly good life. For Burgoyne, why would the Americans let such a top guy go? And this has to do with diplomacy, which, as I'm reading, I've mentioned before, my John Adams book, is you realize a lot of history has to do with the diplomacy, what's going on behind the scenes. So remember, at the Battle of Saratoga, at this time in history, we're desperate for the French's help. And the idea was, the diplomatic idea, was if we show ourselves to be like an honorable country, we're not just some upstart bunch of rebels, but we will honor the rules of war. And that even if we have a top general, we'll treat him like a gentleman and we'll say the rules of conflict are, the top generals, as long as they promise their word of honor, they won't fight again, we will let them go. And that's basically what the Americans do. I think there's also something of an argument that holding him wasn't going to do much good at this point. And by letting him go, we show France we're like a legitimate nation. And therefore, we allow him to go back. And if you think that whole Battle of Saratoga sounds kind of interesting, well, you can, until the end of August, freely download Cap Westguard and the Second Battle of Saratoga, and the link is in the description below.